Hey, Leslie here at Silent Rolling Acres. So right now we are just moving our goats, well, our ewes and our does, so our sheep and goats, our breeding stock with their young stock, out to our woods and also to graze our hayfield. And so we're using they're doing kind of some brush work around the perimeter of our hayfield. So at nighttime, they have access to a fenced-in area with electro-net fence to kind of keep them more contained overnight, and they will eat brush and the forbs and the weeds in that area. And then in the daytime, I let them out into the hayfield using our Gallagher smart fences, just for easy setup to let them graze the hayfield. The reason why I don't let them have access to the hayfield overnight is just I want to make sure I have a better control of how much they're eating at a time and not eat it down too much, because I really want to be careful. I don't want to stunt the growth of our alfalfa and our grasses for regrowth and do any damage to our hayfield. But at the same time, having those animals out there is just a huge benefit to not only the soil, but also the plants. We're getting a lot of added fertilizer from rotationally grazing the goats in the hayfield and smaller paddocks, so it's a little bit more uniform coverage. And they're also doing some hoof action, so kind of moving around that fertilizer, maybe trampling the grasses and alfalfa and other forbs they're not eating, or that they eat the plant residue, to kind of continue to encourage that plant regrowth, kind of like the same idea as if we were to mow it for hay. So it's pretty exciting to see this happen in this area. We haven't actually had animals out here until recent years. So I'm really excited to see how this hayfield progresses, as we practice grazing on here once this season. So one thing I didn't anticipate, well, I guess it's kind of just getting the feel of where they're at, but this group is it is the biggest group we've had on the farm thus far for our breeding group and with babies, and they just eat a lot faster. They actually ate it between last night, 7 p.m. to, I would say, what time is it? It's about 11 a.m. They took care of it pretty quick. So we will probably move pretty fast through this grazing project. And now that I've got a feel of where they're at in terms of their grazing ability and consumption, I always have a handle, but it changes on the type of pasture or hayfield they're eating. What's in the woods? Is it more brush? Is there underbrush? Is there grasses in the understory? Or is there a lot of tree canopy, so there's not as much to eat underneath? There's a lot of learning that goes into play there too. So I may end up making these wood paddock a little bit bigger than I anticipated, but I just need to make sure also too that I don't put too much fence on my Energizer to make sure that can handle kind of the right combination of putting everything together. Now, if you've got questions about how we have this set up, just let me know. I'd be happy to share a little bit more about that in a future video.